To make French tip, all you need is whatever color you're going to be using for your French tip. Obviously, classic French is pink and white, so you see me getting the white. I typically take my white out and pour it onto something just because it's easier instead of me having to dip my brush and get the product out of the bottle. It's just easier to have it right on top of something. I do always keep in mind whenever I'm about to turn my light on, I move it away because it does cure and then you'll have problems with that. I'm going to take my acrylic. Obviously, I'm using like a swatch stick, so I'm going to have already buffed this, clean this off, took all the dust off of it, and then I'm going to go in with the top coat. I go on with top coat because sometimes when you put the gel polish on top without having a in-between barrier, it'll bleed onto the acrylic and your lines in your nail art won't look as crisp. Once the top coat is cured, all I do is start to mark. This first line is going to be how I gauge how deep I want my French tip to be. So that line is going to be for me my center and where my arch will start. This gives you a guide on where you're bringing your first line to. When I go in and I grab my white, you see on my brush how my brush is completely saturated with product. I'm going to take it, I'm going to lay the whole brush flat with the nail and swipe. That helps give you crisper lines. That way you're not making small strokes and getting them uneven. When you let the brush work for you, you're able to get smoother lines. Every line I'm bringing is going to be closer and closer to that first line I originally made. That way I keep both sides even and they don't look wonky by the time I'm finished. It's just keeping that point of the center helps you eyeball the rest of the French tip. I don't waste time and try to fill in with my liner brush. I go back with the actual bottle brush and fill it in. From here, once it's filled in, then you're really able to see the parts that need to be fixed, and that's what this is. When I'm going to fix my French tip, I'm using the end of my brush. If it's like a small correction or if I need to make a whole new line or even out a line, I lay my brush flat up against the nail. That way I can get a smooth swipe. Anything here and on the other side, I could tell that needs to be a little fixed and filled closer together to look smoother. So that's what I'll be doing. So I'm going to take the brush and just lay it all on the nail because I need to make a new line. And I'm just pulling, 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 and that's it. Checking to see how close it is to the other side, if it looks even. If not, I go in and I fix it. Because I don't go in and fix this little area here as far as what's close to the cuticle, I'd always do that last. And I like to turn my brush around actually and do it this way and just feather it up and you ending with the tip of my brush, and that is how I get that slope effect as far as the French tip look. It's just using the tip of my brush. You see how I'm not placing like the whole brush on anymore. When I end at the end. That's how you get that look. And then obviously you just fix it until it's to your liking or to the style in which you like to do nails. So if you want a thicker line, you have to do it accordingly. going back in and grabbing some more product just so I can do the other side. This side I went a little lower on, so it's just making sure it's matching as close as possible to the other side. Turning the nail around for me gives it the client's perspective, and that's how I show that how even it is and how I like it, and that's literally perfect to me. So we'll just be top coating and calling it done.